a long time ago, if you don't like your circumstances or your situation, change it. So I left everything behind, and I just was like, I was told that Manitou had healing powers. So I came to Manitou to give it a shot. And I had 5 months clean, and I had very bad social anxiety and very bad extremely bad PTSD. And I had very minimal gear, and I was sleeping outside. And I didn't want to be like everybody else I knew. I flew assigned for a few days for some gear and for some food, but that's not what I wanted to do. And I didn't want to beg, borrow, and steal just to survive. And because of my anxiety issues, I was incapable of going to the mission. So I had this very crappy tarp, and I had a very bad sleeping bag, and I had one set of clothes. And there is a gazebo park down the way, like maybe a couple of blocks. And there's some bushes behind the gazebo. And I just threw my tarp down and threw my sleeping bag in the tarp, and I kind of burritoed myself up at night. And I would still get soaked, and I would still be frozen, and there would be icicles hanging off of me and the trees. So I wasn't sleeping. And at night, I would just cry. I would cry, and I would cuss, and I was damning everything. And I was angry. One night, I think it was last Friday, I was so cold. I couldn't feel my toes, and I couldn't feel my fingers. And so I just kind of shoved my gear underneath the bushes, and when I get that cold, I just get up and start walking around to get the blood flowing, and to keep myself warm. And I was walking around Manitou, and I was just kind of looking in the windows trying to distract my mind. And this guy walked up to me out of nowhere, and he was just like, "There's this place, and they feed people tomorrow. You should come." And he told me where it was, but at that point, it had already been 2 days since I'd eaten a hot meal, and at that point, it was 2 days since I had any kind of resemblance of sleep. And I was tired and very angry and cold, and so my brain wasn't retaining any information. And so Saturday morning, early morning, probably about 4, I was so cold, and I was literally drenched and soaked to the bone. And I had one outfit I owned, and I just kicked. I was so mad. I got up out of my little burrito thing with my tarp and my sleeping bag, and I just started kicking my gear up underneath this bush, and I was cussing. And I had to choose. I had enough money to go dry all of my gear or get a cup of coffee and warm myself up. I started walking up Main Street here in Manitou, and the guy who told me about the upper room, he walked out of the door, and he was like, "You, come on up." And it was just like, right as I was walking by the door, he walked out of the door. And I wouldn't have known that this place was what he was talking about. And so I came upstairs and I sat right there on that very top step, and I had my pack still like over my shoulder almost, in case I needed to bolt, because I don't know you people, and I don't know if I'm safe. And so I stayed there for a minute, and people kept walking by me and telling me how special I was and how much I was loved, and I wasn't hearing none of it. I didn't want to hear none of it. I wanted to warm up. I wanted something in my belly, and I wanted a cup of joe, and that was all. I didn't want to talk to anybody. And Jimmy, it was one of the people that comes to the upper room. He had played a clip for this movie called Ragamuffin. And I don't know if you guys have seen the clip or the movie, but there's a scene where they're driving down the Jeep, and the passenger puts a tape in the tape player, and they start talking. And it's this preacher talking about a story. And the driver, his face, you could see his chin quiver. You could see the expression in his jawbones. And you could see the tears in his eyes. And I was like, that's me. And so I was about to leave before they played that clip, because I didn't see no coffee and I didn't see no food, and I was hungry and I was tired and I was cold, and there was people talking about Jesus, and I was not in the mood. and they played that clip, and I didn't move from that spot, but I did take my pack off of my shoulder and put it up against the wall. And I decided to stay a few more minutes. And they brought out coffee.
Amen.
And they brought out some chili.
Hallelujah.
And I ate until my stomach looked like I was full. Came up, and there was this lady, and she works for the mission. And I was standing in the kitchen, and she was trying to convince me to go to the mission instead of sleeping outside. And, they kept saying, you'll be safe, you'll be safe. And I was just like, in my mind, I was not believing them, because that is too many strangers that I could not account for. I could not predict their behavior or their habits or what they're about to do. And coming from where I come from, that could cost me my life. And I would rather have hypothermia and die than go that route. And I was willing to go back out to my little bush by the gazebo. And they decided that I needed some time out from the cold, and that I needed a bath and some hot meals and some rest and not have to worry. So they decided that I needed to go to Jimmy and Jen's place. And so I went there, and I felt like I didn't have to fight so much. But I was still, like the first night or two, I was still kind of watching over my shoulder, because that's what people like me do. And so the third day I'm at Jimmy's, or the second day I'm at Jimmy's, he says, I need to introduce you to my friend Elizabeth. And so he introduced me to her the next day.
Wait, say that again. I had to restart the camera.
What
did Elizabeth say?
We're going to do a makeover.
That's her. Is that her?
Yeah, that's Becky in the back at Denny's right there.
Lost it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Left of Jimmy. Yeah.
And I went to this lady's house the following day, so this is day 4. Went to this lady's house, and there was like 10 people in this house. And I'd never even thought I could walk into a place this fancy looking. I'm talking, this was like a 5-star mansion type thing, what I would think. Okay, like white carpet, chandeliers. I'm like, I should not even be in this house. And there was like 10 people in this house that were doing store runs and bringing things in. And there was like 3 women like cutting my dreads and dyeing my hair and putting on makeup and pulling clothes out of closets. And I had never experienced anything like that in my entire 40 years.
Wow.
I have never had a group of people come together in my benefit for me.
Look at that one.
Aren't you
Wow.
beautiful?
That's
You're
gorgeous.
beautiful.
She's gorgeous.
Beautiful, baby. You're beautiful.
And
Wow.
that night they said that I guess they are all students
Uh-huh.
to this Bible school up in Woodland. And they said, you know, you should come check that out. So day 5, I go up to this Bible school.
I'm recording that.
And I did not even know that this place even existed 5 days previous. And so I went up to this school and I spent the day there. I do. I still have my
still
dress.
have it.
I still have all of my dress.
There you go, girl.
But I went to this Bible school, and there was this guy showing me around. His name is Stephen, and he has a beautiful heart, and I love this man. And he said, he introduced me to this other guy, which is probably about the same age as my youngest son. And Stephen tells this guy, he says, she's interested in coming here. I hadn't said nothing. I was just like, okay. What else am I gonna, okay. Well, you know, let's see what this goes. And so the guy says, he's from SSR. And he says, I'm gonna get your packet together and I'm gonna have it ready for you. And I said, what about the financing? This is a big school. It's 3 years. That's a lot of money. I'm broke. You know, like 4 days. Yeah. 4 days, 5 days earlier, I hadn't even eaten in 3 days. How am I gonna get 3 years worth of tuition? You know, and this is how my mind's working. And the guy from SSR says, don't you worry about any of the financial stuff. He says, you just fill out the paperwork and it's already taken care of. And I thought he
awesome.
had tripped and cracked his skull on a rock.
Wow.
I was just like, are you serious? And he was like, just fill out the paperwork. It's already taken care of for you. I still don't understand that. Because where I come from, people don't pay other people's tuition.
Right.
People don't pay other people's rents. People don't pay other people's food. That's where I come from. That's something that you only see in movies. It's not real.
God is real.
And I'm sitting there on my second day at this school, and people are talking about, like, this person over here is like, yeah, I had my first year paid for by this person. I had all 3 years paid for by this person. And in my mind, I'm just like, what is this? What are you, what is going on?
Mhm.
And my brain is still having a hard time. So last night, day 6, last night I'm up here, and Miss Faye prays for me, and we talk after everybody left. And I went down to Joyland, and I climbed a tree, and I was listening to my music, and I had my little cigarette in my mouth, and I'm
It's
just like a
okay.
little kid climbing up in this tree, you know. And I get back to Jimmy's, and my mind is just reeling. This is 6 days. 6 days. And I went from not having eaten, not having slept, and not trusting a single soul. 6 days. And so last night I'm sitting on Jimmy's porch, and it's about 11 o'clock at night, and I'm praying, and I like to pray out loud. I like to pray like Jesus is sitting right in front of me, and I'm having a verbal conversation. I do
Amen.
not like to pray in my head. I think it gets lost.
Yes, come on, girl.
So I'm
That's it.
praying out loud,
It's powerful.
and I said, for the first time in my entire existence, in 40 years, I get to live. I don't have to fight or defend or protect my home. I don't have to look over my shoulder wondering if bad people are going to hurt me, or if somebody's going to do something to me that they shouldn't be doing. I don't have to worry about somebody mistaking my kindness for flirtation or alternative motives.
Ulterior motives.
They genuinely love me.
Amen.
And they want me to be a part of their family. And I was praying, I was like, I've never even seen a healthy relationship between a man and a woman in my entire 40 years. I didn't know what one looked like. I knew it on the Hallmark Channel when I was eating chocolate ice cream. But I didn't think that kind of stuff existed. I had no clue. And so I'm seeing like Jimmy and his wife. I'm seeing Robert and Elizabeth. I'm seeing all these relationships, and they're healthy. And I've never seen a man cry because his heart was touched. I was taught that men crying, they were weak. I didn't even know a man could cry because he was happy. I'm 40 years old. I have never seen blue water. I've never been on a date where I got dressed up. I've never been brought flowers. I've never learned how to drive. I've never been to a concert. All I've known for 40 years is fight. That's it. That's all I've known. And I have people treat me like I've been a part of their life forever. And people are talking about looking for a job that fits me. People are out there looking for a job. They are looking for a job for me that they feel that will fit me. It's very overwhelming.
It is overwhelming.
They prayed over me last night. And I had a very bad incident happen 20 years ago. About 20 years ago. And it changed. It made me feel like I was less than a woman. And I was unwhole. And last night, I want to share this with you because you guys will understand a little better. I was severely raped when I was 21. I was tied down by cables and I was raped and beaten. And while I was tied down, this man almost killed my child before my eyes, and I could not get off the bed to protect my own flesh and blood. And I watched my son almost die before my eyes. Not only did it take my child away from me, but it took my ability to ever have a child again. And I always hated myself. I thought I was too weak to protect my child. I was too weak to protect myself. And last night, for the first time in 20 years, I sat on Jimmy's porch and I cried because I was no longer angry at myself that I could not be strong enough to protect my son. I realized last night for the first time in 20 years that I was a whole woman again. And I could have a family that I always dreamed of.
Amen.
And that I'm not broken anymore.
Amen. That's right. Amen.
So, I guess the important thing that I want to share with you is when you walking down the street, it says in the Bible, and I can't remember how it's exactly worded, but how can you claim that you're good if you're only good to those that are good to you?
Preach it. Preach it, girl.
Don't walk by somebody walking down the street because they smell, or because they're cussing, or because they have a joint hanging out their mouth, or because they don't fit what you think people should be like, because you don't know what took place in order for that person to end up at that spot. You have no clue. We are not supposed to judge. There's only one person that's supposed to judge, and that is the man upstairs. If we are true sons of God, we have to go to the ugly, dark places. We have to go meet the monsters in the dark.
Amen.
Because every last one of them
They have
has
a
a
story.
soft spot
Amen.
that they had
Amen.
no idea was there
Amen.
before.
Yes.
And that's what I believe is the true meaning of a son of God.
That's our Jesus.
Amen.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, that was amazing.